Hey guys, welcome to episode 6 of the Kurious Kast. My name is Charles Coetzee. I'm your host and co-owner of Kurious Group. Today, I'm happy to introduce our latest guest, Lizzy. Lizzy is a veteran makeup artist and beauty specialist who owns Artistry in Putney, a well-established beauty salon to the everyday woman and TV personalities. Lizzy, welcome and thank you for being here today. We really appreciate you coming in to share a little bit about your story and how you've progressed to get to where you are now. So if you don't mind telling myself and the audience, who is Lizzy?
Lizzy is a creative person who, when I was younger, I struggled with in the academic side of things and I didn't know what my calling was. And I kind of at the start thought I'll just climb the corporate ladder, I'll just be in an office space, and it just did not work for me at all until I found my groove. I started in the fashion industry, which I loved, but then that changed quite dramatically. So I ended up studying makeup artistry at night at TAFE and beauty and skincare, and that was just my calling. I just felt so comfortable doing that. And yeah, I started over 11 years ago now. And I started with salon as the New South Wales state makeup artist. And then when I had my first daughter, Ava, my husband built me a studio at home. So I was there for 6 years. And then from there, I just built my clientele slowly, became more confident. And now I'm on Charles Street, Putney, with my friend Pasquale, who owns Pasquale, the salon.
That's definitely an amazing journey coming from trying to figure out what you wanted to do in the beginning. So if we go back to that, from looking at your early days and probably more so back to your upbringing, what do you think inspired that creativeness in you?
I think I was always a visual learner, and now I think we appreciate those children a little bit more because, we're always boxed into certain categories. And I can now appreciate what I can give to people as well and how I can make them feel. And so I love my job. I know it's cliche to say, but it does not feel like a job to me. It just feels like I'm doing something for somebody else.
So Lizzy, where were you born and raised?
I was raised out west in Maryland, and I loved growing up there because it was so diverse and I had a lot of different types of friends, and it just taught me a lot about hard work ethic, which I think is still ingrained in me to this day because all the families and friends around me had businesses and were very hardworking people. So I appreciated that about them. And it's just, so I grew up there, and then now I've lived in the Putney area for about 12 years.
It's nice to live close to where you work, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Very fortunate. Not everyone has that luxury, so I can relate to that. It is good. Yes. So when from that and being that upbringing, when was it, or how early was it in your life that you realized that beauty and makeup was kind of the direction you wanted to go in?
Well, I always loved, fashion, hair, beauty. I just didn't know what direction I was going to go in. One of my first jobs was washing hair and sweeping hair at a hair salon, which I loved because I got to know a lot about people, different personalities, how to deal with different personalities. And I saw the joy that brought people by making themselves feel good and look good. So from a very young age, I experimented with makeup. Even my mum's makeup, she always had beautiful stuff in her bathroom. So I would just sneak in there and try a few things. And it just came naturally to me, to be honest. It just was a natural progression into the beauty industry.
And when did you realize, or how far into it was it that it was like, okay, I can actually make a living or a career out of this? Was it early days, or was it just one of those things where you were thinking to yourself, I just need to make some money and I kind of like this, so I'll see how this goes?
Well, I would always go and get my makeup done for an event at MAC or Napoleon, for an event. So I always loved doing that. I always thought, wow, that would be such a fun job. And I thought I could do this for sure. So once I started, it just was a free flow. And then I knew all my friends would start to come to me and they would come to me for, next to nothing, and I'd do a look on them, and it was great for me because it was content for me and stuff for my portfolio.
And then from there, you said, you were a state manager, or sorry, a
State makeup
state makeup artist for New South Wales.
Yeah.
So what made you make that shift from working for someone to then saying, okay, I'm going to open this business?
Well, I just saw that I connected with people really well, and I wanted to put my spin on it as opposed to somebody else's, which, don't get me wrong, it was amazing working for such a big brand, building my kit. All those things are really important when you're first starting in the makeup industry. So that's what I tell most people: start on the floor at David Jones, MAC, wherever you need to start, to build that confidence and also your portfolio and your clientele. So that's super important. But if I didn't do that, then I probably wouldn't open my own home salon, to be honest with you, because I didn't have that confidence yet. It wasn't until I left, I just thought I can definitely do this.
Opening your own business, whether it be from home or from an office or wherever it is, or a store, it can always be a very daunting process. And as sure as you might be about something, as you could probably relate to, there's always that thing in the back of your head that's saying to you, fuck, is this going to work? Am I going to be able to make something of this? Am I going to be able to make a living out of this? Are people actually going to come?
Yeah.
So how early was it in your journey with Artistry that you said, this has actually got legs and I can make a career out of this?
Well, so my husband Theo is a very big supporter of me, and because he also runs a big company himself, which he started at the age of 22, I was on that journey with him. So he is quite inspirational in terms of, starting a business, taking a risk. He's all about taking a risk. If you don't take a risk, then you don't know what's going to happen. So for me, if I didn't have him as like my backbone support, I probably wouldn't have taken the leap, to be honest. Because I think you do need that one person to just push you a little bit along to say, no, you can do it, because we all have self-doubt that comes natural to humans.
100%.
But I think that push was what I needed from him, and I could do it slowly. I was lucky enough to be able to do it slowly, because after launching my home salon, I fell pregnant 3 months later, so with my first child. And I think that's when I really freaked out because I thought, oh my gosh, what can I do? And Theo said to me, they will always come back to you. If they love you, they will come back to you. And this is life, and people understand, you raise kids, you have babies, and this happens. So don't worry too much about it. And he was right, because then I rebranded after I had the girls and started fresh.
It's always so important. I think people always skip over that part of who's in your corner when you need to make that big leap and take that big risk.
Yeah.
And I can 100% relate to that with me and my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to where I am now and the growth I've had is, a lot of it wouldn't have probably eventuated, or would have taken a lot longer to eventuate.
That's right. Yeah.
If I hadn't had her as my biggest supporter.
Yes.
And vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good that you did touch on that, because relationships can play a really pivotal role in being good or bad to something like this.
Absolutely.
So having the right person shows that it really does push you in that right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So from there, we spoke about like your support system. How is that like with juggling the two lives? Like you've got mum and then you've got business owner.
Massive, yeah. So it takes a village, as they say.
Yep.
And I sometimes feel like I'm on a tennis court and I'm going from here to there to here to there. And, some days are easier than others, but then other days you feel really challenged and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is just too chaotic, but I love it still. I have a huge support network that I rely on heavily. So whether that be my husband, my mother, my mother-in-law, my beautiful babysitter, all these people play a huge role in my business and how I get to work on a Saturday, and I'm there all day on a Saturday. That's challenging when my husband also runs a business on a Saturday. So you have to really just, I suppose, pick and choose your hours that work for you. And your clientele will always understand that. If you can get them in at a certain time they're happy to work around that. So that's what I have recognized. And I think that was my biggest worry at the start. But now I just know that my regulars are amazing and they're like, yeah, cool. Like, you just tell me what you can do. And my online booking system has saved me because, it sends them a reminder email, a text. They can see what times are available. So that has really made a difference in the organization of my business.
And how early on did you realize that you needed those systems and processes to implement? So you were able to say, okay, what do I need to add to my business to make my life easier?
Yeah. Okay. So when I first opened Artistry on Charles Street, before I opened, I implemented that system with a friend of mine, Paul, who did an amazing job on my website, my booking system. That I didn't realize how much stress that would take out of my day to day, not receiving 100 DMs a day, 100 messages a day. Oh, can I fit this time? Actually, what about this time? This time? Actually, you know what? Don't worry, cancel it. It was just, you don't realize how much that takes out of your time with your kids and your family. And if you're always looking down on your phone and you're, not even in the salon.
You're not there.
Present.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to find a way to make it easier for not only my clients, but me to book online. So yeah, that made a huge difference.
And then how early was it that you realized that you needed really good? Because I've seen your online presence, especially with like your Instagram in particular.
Yeah.
And I know you've done a really great job with that of like being the face of that brand and also and bringing out your personality, which is really good to see because, you don't want to be this like bland, boring person in front of the camera, but also you don't want to be someone that's not yourself.
That's right.
So how early was it in your business journey that you realized like I need to make sure that my appearance online as a business fits who I am and also is in a place where it's going to bring me in more clients?
Yes. I think with socials, so many people are not themselves. So obviously, as we know, it's not super authentic with some pages.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there's this, like, they'll follow trends. So I try to go the other way because I've now realized that me being myself and being different and not being put into a box has actually made me more successful than the opposite way around. So I'm not going to try and be like every other makeup artist online, and have their aesthetic on the feed. I just wanted to be super different and myself. And I think I've always kind of put a bit of a wall up because I'm quite loud, but I'm also a little bit introverted. I always tried to kind of step back and say, I might just be a little bit more quiet, a little bit more classy. But I just think I have to be myself. I have to be authentic. And honestly, that brings me so much more clientele than when I was super boring on Instagram, to be honest.
Especially in your case where you are the artist they're coming in to see.
Mm-hmm.
So you're essentially selling your personality as well as the great work that you do.
Mm-hmm.
So if they get someone online and then they come in and you're a completely different person, they're just going to be like, what the fuck's going on?
I have my days.
Yeah, look, I think everyone does.
Don't catch me on a bad day.
I think everyone's got their bad days.
Kidding.
But you see it online all the time when usually the most successful people online are the ones that are themselves, whether they're really out there or they're just this quirky personality.
Yeah.
When you meet them in real life, that's who they are.
Yes.
Yeah. The ones that are putting it on as a front.
Yeah.
It never really adds up.
Yeah. I think people are realizing now that there's no such thing as perfect. Nobody is perfect.
No.
Nobody looks perfect. Sure, makeup can accentuate your beautiful features and make you look amazing. But we're not aiming for perfection. We're aiming to make you feel, I am aiming to make you feel a certain way about yourself, about the event that you're going to bring out that inner confidence, because a lot of people are not confident with who they are. And so that's my goal.
So just on what you said before about wanting to uplift people, make them feel better about themselves,
Mm-hmm.
When did you realize that was the most important thing? Like a lot of people just get into business and it's like, I just want to make some money.
Yeah,
right?
no, that was never my goal.
No.
No.
But the most successful businesses that you see always are the ones that figure out what it is they're trying to do.
Yes.
And whether it be help other businesses, whether it be help people in a particular way or make people feel in a particular way. So how early was it, or was it just from the beginning?
No, to be honest, it took some time to realize this. And I think it takes a lot of time to build your skill. So like anything, you are not fantastic straight away. Sure, you can be, pretty good. Like I thought I was pretty good when I first started. I didn't doubt myself too much. But now I look back at old photos and I'm like, oh, okay. Like I thought that was killer makeup, but it was okay. But, the client thought it was great at the time as well. And I think you just have to really slowly build your portfolio, build your confidence. And once you do that, you can really do any makeup look you like. Like I feel you have to remember, because I have an online booking system, people will rock up and I don't know who they are. I don't know what they look like. I know nothing about them. So I have to really be confident enough to do that look that they want in an hour and a half.
Can that be challenging in itself?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
But I also have to put my spin on it, my style. And, they always say you choose your clientele, but I really feel that I choose my clientele. They book with me. I don't have any difficult people. They're all amazing and they're always happy. So
I think that also comes back to your marketing and the way that you brand yourself online. They're not just buying, when they go on your online booking and they've made a booking with you, I guarantee you almost every single time they've gone to your social media, they've had a look at who you are, what kind of work you've done. They've made sure that as a personality, they can mesh with you.
Yes.
Because you are yourself online, that pays itself out in gold, because they come in, and even if it's someone that you haven't necessarily looked after before, they know what they're getting, and it's generally a personality that you're able to mesh with.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really important. And some people go their whole business life and never get that right, or at least, or it goes over their head. They're just like, I'm just going to make sure I make more money.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I've got a whole lot of shit clients.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. And, you have to look at what brings you joy at the end of the day. And also being able to talk to different personalities is a huge one, and talk about topics that interest them.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, makeup can go to up to an hour and a half sometimes. That sounds like a lot of time, but it's actually not, because you're talking about 10 different subjects at the time, and you're trying to also do artistry at the same time. So you have to know, and especially if they're a regular, if they become a regular, you really have to cater to what they want to talk about and what topics they would like to talk about. It's not just about what I want to talk about. So you just have to, you have to learn over time how to do that seamlessly.
And then just following on from that, having clients that come in, even if these people are strangers, for example,
Yeah.
you haven't done before, how is that translated through into word of mouth referrals for you? Like, have you seen a direct correlation from people coming in that you might not know, and then all of a sudden you might see them once or twice, and then they refer a friend?
Yes.
Does that generally have a big...
Yeah, it often happens that way. And being such a small community like Putney, I know most people through other people and whatnot, and they're friends with this person and cousins with this person. And so you kind of, at the end of that session, you actually can't believe, like, who you know, and who in their family you know, and who you've done 10 years ago who said you were great. And then it just happens naturally. Yeah.
And then if you could give any advice to someone else, either starting out or even in your industry, to when it comes to how they present themselves online, and also how they interact with their cousins, what would that one bit of, if there was, what would that one bit of advice be that you want to give?
I think to anybody starting out, like I said, always start on the floor somewhere super busy, David Jones, Elizabeth Street, somewhere where you are going to have lots of different backgrounds, male, female, different skin tones. You have to really do your work first before you jump into, your own business. Not to say that you can't just start your own business like that, but I think that helps you gain success by doing the work beforehand. It's work that you don't even realize you're doing as well. You know, as you go along, you're like, oh, that was really good training for me. I think do that first. And then just, you know, start small and do little, you know, group bonding sessions where you can do lessons and get all the girls together. And that's how, you know, ladies love to chat. It's coffee talk. You know, they talk about what's happening, where do they go for their this, and that. And then also, I was a makeup artist originally, but when I opened my own business, I thought, no, I have to do eyebrows. I have to do spray tanning. I can't do makeup Monday to Friday. You can do makeup Monday to Friday, don't get me wrong, but it's not as consistent as it would be if you were a beauty parlor where it's a one-stop shop. They can do their, you know, eyebrows one day and then come to you for a spray tan, makeup, eyebrow lamination, eyebrow henna, lash lifting, and then go next door to Pascal and get your hair done. So for me, it had to flow. And just being a makeup artist, I think that's what I was struggling with at the start, because I knew I had to go through different avenues to give me more, you know, a different type of person and a free-flowing business, I suppose.
Thanks for sharing that. That's like really, really insightful, especially for, you know, I would say someone starting out, it would be really hard to understand that, you know, back to what you said before about saying, oh, like, back then I thought I was doing the best thing ever. Then you look back at it and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So like for a business like yours, when you really think about it, like compared to other industries, the barrier of entry to open a business is very low. Like you don't need heavy machinery. You don't need a lot of financial outlay to start a business.
Yes.
But the thing that people, and that's what would incentivize a lot of people to start their own business. But what I can see is what people wouldn't understand is it's not the tangible things that are the barrier of entry. It's the things that aren't tangible, which are your skills.
Yes.
And you not just with actually applying the products or doing the work, but communication skills with the client and being able to build those relationships. And that's things you wouldn't get without the experience, probably working somewhere where there is a lot more traffic, I would assume.
That's right. And also anything that is the latest trend for brows, often I go and do a course. I'm constantly studying, whether it be like, I remember when lamination first came out, I was like, Google lamination course. Like I have to go and do a lamination course. I have to learn the latest when it comes to henna, anything. And I think you can never stop learning, no matter how good you think you are, because I think people want you to be on trend. They want you to be good, obviously, at what you do. But I'm constantly looking like, okay, who's doing a short course here? I might just go and do that during the week. You know, so I think you can just never stop doing, you can't stop doing that.
You can't stop learning.
No, because I think it's just, and it brings new thoughts into your head too. Okay, I can do this and this. That's not to say you have to do everything that's on trend. You still have to stay true to yourself and your business. But I think for me, I love doing that. I love learning a new skill or a new trend.
But it sounds like you're also making sure that whatever it is that you are learning is going to add value to your business.
Correct.
Yeah. So in saying that, with new things coming up and things changing and evolving, from where the beauty industry was when you started to where it is now, with like the influence of social media and, you know, just big retailers and all that stuff, what changes have you seen? What big changes have you seen where it's kind of evolved into what it is now? What were those big pivotal changes?
The Kardashians? No. No. They changed the game for everyone. No. I think, obviously pop culture plays a big role.
Yeah.
I also saw throughout lockdown, I was like, people need beauty and they are desperate to get their brows done, their hair done, their nails done, and they just are feeling a wreck with this lockdown. Like this is spiraling them out of control. And so I think what we saw during that time was like construction was still going hard. Then beauty was still like very much wanted, you know, marketing and online. And presents and all this stuff were things that people actually really wanted, and that was deemed a successful business because you're helping people, you're doing something for somebody. And so that actually made me look at things differently as well, and that gave me a bit more drive to really, after lockdown happened, okay, yeah, I can do this. I'm going to now open my books to take bookings. People want to start going to events. They want to feel good, look good. And yeah, I saw a big change there. But also, like I said, pop culture, huge, trends and whatnot. But I think now getting your makeup done to go to dinner is super normal. Well, it is to me anyway. So get your makeup done, gals. No, so just to go, like I said, to a little dinner with 4 people, like girls are happy to do full glam for that. And that's like comes down to, like I said, like the, Kardashian wave or whatever it is. But people now aren't afraid to say, oh, I just got my makeup done, or I just went and did my hair or whatever. Back in the day, I think it was more like, for a special occasion, you will go to Napoleon and you'll get your makeup done, and you can, get product as well. So that's great. You can get your product. But now it's not about like getting your product. It's like, who's my makeup artist? Who's the girl that I go to when I want to look really good?
Do you think that's changed also because of the accessibility to just buying things online? And
Yes.
that people are like, I don't really need to go into the store to buy what I need and try it on. It's like, I know what I want. I just need to make sure that I've got the relationship with that artist that's able to then give me the result that I want.
That's right. Can they execute it for me? So it's really funny. I've seen the trends go from like, super winged liner with a red lip to like now like bare minimal peachy tones, like contoured slightly, bit of a lash, like, and it goes through, like, it comes back around, always comes back around. So I've enjoyed watching that as well. And I've enjoyed watching people not worry about getting their makeup done, or like actually feeling confident enough to say, no, I'm going to go get my makeup done. I'm doing that for myself. Because a lot of people go, oh, no, it's silly. I'm not going to do my makeup. Like, that's over the top. Like, it's not really.
And then with the trends, is it, how does it work with you and the client? Is it like, do they come in and sometimes just trust you to say, okay, like what best suits me? Or is it they usually come in and they've seen something online and they just want to follow a trend?
A bit of both. So I always ask for an inspo image. So I give them the option. I said, look, you can send it to me, or you can show me on the day, or you can just let me do what I do, which is my favorite thing, let's face it. But that's only kind of your regulars will do that with you.
They build that trust.
Yeah, they'll just say, oh, I just want to do something fun. I just want to look pretty. I just want to look this or that. That's great. I actually love those clients because they really let me be creative.
And then one last thing is like, how do you make sure that you stand out? Like, what's the biggest thing? Because there's like, this market is so saturated.
So saturated.
Right. And there's a million people that do this now.
Yeah.
And that's probably also because of social media.
Yeah.
So how do you stand out, or what makes you stand out from the rest?
Good question, Charles. Like you said, personality, that packs a punch for sure, because people really want to come and see you and see what's happening in your life. I'm pretty upfront too about my life and my kids and the chaos, and it's just a bit of a laugh as well. I think it's me as an artist, yes, but it's also my location, which I know sounds crazy, but makes a huge difference to people with convenience. So if I'm catering to the people in my neighborhood and the people that I want to see, I'm in a great location for that. So convenience is one, your artistry and skill is another. Your products, so the products that I use are high-end products. I don't only use high-end products, but that makes a big difference. I spend a fortune on my kit, and people can see that, and it's quality. You get what you pay for at the end of the day. You're not only paying for an artist, you're paying for their OH&S, their, the cleanliness of their kit, of their salon, of their brushes. Like, all this stuff is super important. you know, and it's what we were taught early on in TAFE, like wash your brushes, always use a clean brush. Don't ever double dip. Spray your kits, spray your palettes. Like all that stuff is really important. And it's probably what people skip. Like a few people do skip because they're like, I'm in a rush. I'm going to try and pack 5-6 faces in a day. It's like, for me, I would rather quality over quantity when it comes to clientele.
And then you would say that's probably the biggest thing that would set you apart is like just that extra bit of care that you would take with the client that you wouldn't get anywhere else, or not everywhere else, but like, you know, most places.
Yeah, and I don't want to rush them. Like I want to give them the time, you know, because I have the time to give them throughout that period. So I would rather take less faces a day and just give amazing looks to every single one of them, as opposed to saying, well, I can make this much if I get 10 faces at it, I won't feel my legs at the end of the day, because you really don't sit down as a makeup artist. You know, I eat a big breakfast, coffee in the morning, and that's it. And then I don't eat until the afternoon. So it's really, it's more strenuous than people think. And you have to remember to, like, visually, you're this close to somebody, you're really staring at them, concentrating, your brain's going a million miles an hour. You're trying to, talk, how the kids, together the palette, do the eye. Like it's full on. And so when I go home, I actually my husband loves it. I'd go at home, I shut my door, and I'm like, just give me 10. I lay in the bed and I just like stare at the ceiling. I'm so like, my brain is still going.
Overwhelmed.
Yes. So I really have to have that downtime.
It's fair to switch off.
Big time. Like, cause that's actually, and I don't realize until I get home and I can hear like the buzzing in my ears. We're like, oh, okay, yep. I had a big day today. I just need to chill for a bit.
So one last question. Do you have any advice for people who want to become an entrepreneur?
One sec.
We need a little break? Makeup break?
No. I don't need a break. Do you want to try some?
No, it's okay. I did my makeup earlier.
This is the best lip balm, and then I just, you can never do something. Keep loading it on. I don't even know if this is a good angle, guys. Anyways, Charles, entrepreneurship. Okay, I never thought about being an entrepreneur. That wasn't my goal. So it wasn't like, I'm going to be the biggest entrepreneur in Sydney. No, but I think if it naturally comes to you, amazing. And it comes out of nowhere. You're just like, I'm just going to see how I go. I think that often helps. But like you said, it's a lot to do with personality, drive, support, and all of those make a huge difference. And working with good people too. I mean, like I said, I work with Pasquale, who is hilarious. We have the best time. We share the same building. So therefore we have to bounce off each other quite well. And yeah, I just love it. I love going to work every day.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Makeup break included. But no, we really appreciate you coming in today and sharing your story and letting us understand what those similarities are, I guess, no matter what industry you're in, if you're a service provider. So understanding what how important those relationships are as a small business with your client, making sure that the way you perceive yourself online is right to attract the right client and everything else in between. So thank you very much. And I hope the audience gets something really insightful out of this. I'm sure they will.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you very much for coming in.
You're welcome.